Okay, so let's talk about the future. What if we could actually build a world that works for everyone? Today, we're diving into a really ambitious blueprint from UnityNet International. It's all about creating what they call a hashtag gLocalized abundance economy. Now, what does that even mean? Well, it's a plan to completely rewire our world, starting from the ground up in our own communities. And it uses a fascinating mix of cutting-edge technology and, really ancient wisdom to build a fairer, more sustainable planet. So let's get into it and see how this whole thing is supposed to work.
All right, Section 1, a world on fire. Look, before we can talk about building something new, we have to get real about where we are right now. And honestly, we're facing a whole storm of crises all at once, right? We've got climate instability, deep-seated social and racial divides, and an economic system that just feels like it's teetering on the brink.
And this quote, man, this really says it all. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have come to believe that we are integrating into a burning house." That just hits you, right? It perfectly captures the scale of what we're up against. The problem isn't just a leaky faucet or a cracked window. The entire house is on fire. The very systems we've built are failing people, and they're failing the planet.
And you know what we're doing in this burning house? It feels like we're about to throw gasoline on the fire. And that gasoline is unchecked artificial intelligence. Now, don't get me wrong, AI has amazing potential. But the risk, and it's a huge one, is that without the right ethical guardrails, this tech could create these massive systems of control. We're talking about something that could threaten not just one country or one group of people, but literally all of humanity.
So, yeah, a burning house, an AI-fueled crisis. It sounds pretty bleak, doesn't it? So where on earth do we go from here? Well, this is where things get interesting. UnityNet's whole argument is that the solution doesn't start with some new law or policy. Nope, it starts with something much deeper, a fundamental shift in how we think.
And right at the heart of this new mindset is a totally different way of looking at money. Think about it. The old way, the one we're all used to, treats money like a thing to be collected and hoarded, right? Like it's the treasure itself. But this new model, it flips that completely. It says money isn't the treasure. It's just the map. It's a tool, a simple record-keeping device that tracks the real value we create and share with each other in our communities. This isn't just a small change. This is like completely rewriting our economic DNA.
And this new way of thinking is built on some really solid principles. First, instead of just taking and taking from the planet, it's about stewardship, being caretakers. Next, forget about those confusing, hidden financial systems. This calls for radical transparency, so we all can actually see where the money is going. And the big goal? It's not about a few people getting rich anymore. It's about building wealth for the entire community. And then, and this is key, reinvesting that wealth right back into the community, making our local economies strong from the inside out.
Okay, Section 3, Technology for Good. So, you've got this great new philosophy, but you need the right tools to build it, right? So how do you actually make this happen in the real world? Well, the answer involves using technology, but in a way that's completely different from what we've seen before.
And here's the game plan. It's about taking tools like AI and redesigning them from the ground up. So instead of being used to make a corporation richer or to give a government more control, they become tools to empower local communities. This is about giving people sovereignty, real control over their own data, their own resources, and their own futures, especially in places in the global south that have been left behind for way too long.
But how do you make sure a technology this powerful stays ethical? This is the part that I find kind of mind-blowing. The strategy says the answer isn't just to write more code or create more regulations. No, the answer is to look to ancient wisdom. Take the Anishinaabe Seven Fires prophecy, for example. It talks about a choice humanity has to make. One path leads to destruction, the other to harmony. By embedding these deep, timeless values into the AI itself, the goal is to make sure it serves humanity and nature, instead of ending up consuming them.
So what does this infrastructure actually look like in your neighborhood? It's not a bunch of server farms and cables. It's something they call living infrastructure, and it's really cool. These are actual physical places run by the community. You've got youth peace gardens and forests, where young people are literally getting their hands dirty, bringing local ecosystems back to life. And then you have things like hashtag story pods. Think of them as local media hubs, where elders can come in and record their stories, their knowledge, preserving that priceless wisdom for generations to come. Okay, a new world needs a new generation of people to build it, right? This next part might just be the most important piece of this whole puzzle. It's all about empowering young people to take the lead. So let me introduce you to the Consciousness Careers Coalition,
or hashtag C3 for short. And I want you to forget everything you know about typical career counseling or job fairs. This is totally different. The whole point is to get past the idea of just getting a job. It's about finding what's called a right livelihood. You know, a path in life that's actually meaningful, one that's good for you, good for your community, and good for the planet.
And the career paths this coalition helps build, they all rest on three main pillars. First up is regenerative development, which is all about giving young people the skills to literally help heal the planet. Then there's cultural healing, which tackles those deep social and historical wounds we talked about at the beginning. And finally, peacebuilding, which gives them the practical tools to handle conflict and bring people together. You see, it's about creating leaders who don't just know how to build stuff, but know how to build a better world.
So let's recap. We've got a new way of thinking, we've got ethical technology guided by wisdom, and we've got an empowered new generation of leaders ready to go. So what does the world they're building actually look like? This is the grand vision, the ultimate goal, a hashtag gLocalized future. And that's the key word right there, hashtag gLocalized. It's not about every town for itself, totally isolated, and it's definitely not about the kind of runaway globalization that erases local culture. It's the absolute best of both worlds. Imagine a global network of communities that are all prosperous, peaceful, and in charge of their own destinies. They're all connected, sharing ideas, and helping each other out. But the number one priority is always local well-being, and making sure every single person feels like they truly belong.
And the path to get there is actually pretty straightforward. It's a clear three-step plan. Step 1, empower our young people. Give them the tools, the mindset, and the support to lead. Step 2, let them use that leadership to leapfrog, to jump right over the old, destructive ways of doing things. And step 3, which is maybe the most important, make sure that as we make this huge change, we bring everyone forward. No community, no person gets left behind.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question that this whole idea leaves us with. How can we build a world where everyone belongs? You know, the tech is there, the ideas are clear, but the will, the collective decision to actually build a world where every single person has a real sense of place and purpose, well, that starts with us. It starts with you and me. Thanks for digging into this with me today.